Steve Bannon is now trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning, Steve Bannon, trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning, Steve Bannon, okay? For the record, Steve Bannon is found guilty of contempt of Congress. That's pretty cool.
News this hour, a jury has just found Steve Bannon guilty on both counts of criminal contempt of Congress. Now, the former Trump strategist faces a mandatory minimum of 30 days in jail.
CNN's Sarah Murray joins us now from the courthouse. Sarah, we're also joined by Ali Honig and Nick Ackerman here. Sarah, tell us what's just happened in the courtroom.
Well, Steve Bannon has been found guilty on 2 counts of criminal contempt of Congress. He smiled and smirked, my colleague Caitlin Poland says, when the verdict was read. She was in the courtroom as this was happening. So I think we can see this former White House chief strategist is just as defiant as ever. You know, with this conviction, he faces 30 days behind bars at a minimum, as well as potentially thousands of dollars of fines. This is not something that's going to happen immediately, though. The judge has set October 21st as the sentencing date, so it'll still be a few months before we know what sentence is actually going to be handed down. You know, it's also been clear from Bannon's attorneys kind of throughout this trial that they do intend to appeal. And because these are misdemeanor charges, you know, it's very possible that we could see the judge delay any kind of, you know, whether Bannon has to kind of serve any kind of sentence until after they go through that appeals process. We just don't know that yet. What we do know is this is a big boost to the House Select Committee. This is, you know, a reaffirmation of their investigative power, of their subpoena power at a time when they're wrangling with a bunch of different witnesses. You know, Peter Navarro comes to mind. He's another person who defied his subpoena and is poised to go to trial over that. It's also a win for the Justice Department. They've come under a lot of scrutiny, a lot of criticism in terms of how they're investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol. I think people have wanted to see, you know, more from them in a number of cases. In this case, they got a very prominent conviction.
All right, Sarah, stay with us. I want to go to Nick, just joining the panel. Your reaction to this guilty verdict?
I think it's extremely significant. And the reason really is in light of what happened yesterday in the House hearing. Yeah. What we found there was on that day, on January 6th, Donald Trump was asked repeatedly by people in the White House.
I want to keep it a buck. I'm going to keep it a stack. I'm going to keep it 100. Like, why the fuck is Steve Bannon involved in January 6th? Like, he hasn't been in the fucking administration for like years at this point. I low-key kind of don't understand that. He was on the hearing yesterday saying exactly what Trump was going to do. No, I mean, the other funny part about this is that, like, everybody always loves talking about Steve Bannon as this, like, brilliant tactician, strategist, whatever. But he's so fucking stupid that he was like, oh, he utilized I didn't know I couldn't, you know, say no to a congressional subpoena argument, okay, which, of course, didn't work. He also before this court proceeding started, he was like, oh, no, I'll actually go. I will appear. And the judge literally told the jury that it doesn't matter if you decide to go now because of your original obstruction. So at the end, he said he would still go. That's a great fucking meme. Failing to respond to a subpoena is literally an ADHD symptom. Interesting to see so-called liberals celebrating this. But yeah, Steve Bannon ultimately said, oh no, officer, I did not know you couldn't do that, except he forgot he looks like Steve Bannon. The only people who can say that to a cop and get away with it, or say that to the law and get away with it, are just like hot white women. And Steve Bannon is the exact opposite of a hot white woman. He's like barely a human to begin with.
Everybody around him, including his family, to get up there and tell his supporters to go home, to stand down, and to relieve the Capitol. And what you find here is that who were the people that were egging him on? Who were the people that really pushed this entire, plan of violence? And obviously, Steve Bannon comes to light as the first person on the list. Yeah. I mean, he was in charge of the war room at the Warwick Hotel. This is where all of the people who were really not government employees, Roger Stone, Rudy Giuliani, his chief investigator.
Yeah, these guys suck. Honestly, I don't really care.